Today is the third installment in a series of 4 videos covering the vintage and antique finds from our UK vacation. So the first 2 installments covered car boot sales and charity shops. Today I'm covering items that we picked up at antique malls. I purchased over 150 different items and spent just $300. I converted the pounds to dollars for that number. Today, I'll be sharing the amount that I paid in pounds because I can't do the math in my head like very fast. So the exchange rate while we were there was £1 to $1.35. It went up from $1.25 to $1.35 right before we went over because of all of the tariff nonsense that's been going on lately. So let's jump right in. Not even sure where to start. Okay, here, I'll show you this. I thought this was really neat. It's a tea caddy. And since I've come home, I've seen that they also have coffee, and it's a canister basically that you could probably buy a full set of. But tea, of course, makes me think of the UK, and I did spend £7 on it, hoping that on Etsy, well, I'll give 2 prices. The low price will be what I think I could get from my antique booth, and then the high price will be what I think I can get on Etsy. So from my booth, I would put this at about $18, and on Etsy, so 18 to hopefully $25 to $30 for that. And then I picked this up because I love clocks. I think people are still decorating with them, but this one just has, like, it's just so graphically gorgeous. Not sure if it works. It seems like if I shake it, it works for a couple of days, but the winder is actually stuck. So in any event, I paid £4 for it. I would hope to get $15 to $30 for this gorgeous little clock. Let's cover some books. I know I'm not supposed to buy books, but these books were all from one specific booth that was full of books. I could have bought all the books, but I only chose a few, and they each cost about £1. I think one of them might have cost like £1.50. So I got this one because I liked the cover. It would look good in a stack, but also look good leaning against the back of a shelf. Again, English books often don't have, older English books often don't have a copyright, but this one has a little, whatever you call that, you know, presentation, and it says 1912. So it does have some sweet illustrations on the inside. I would say 8 to 22. So 8 from a booth, 22 from Etsy. This one, the subject appealed to me. It's England poetry book, second in a series. I think all the poems are about England. So they're not all by English authors, but it was £1. And not sure, I don't think there's not an inscription. That was the word I was looking for before. Yep, so it was £1. You can see that right there in pencil. And I'm gonna say $4 to $12. This one, I loved the cover. It also has an inscription dating to 1918, and it was £1. It has a few nice illustrations in it also. I'm gonna say 10 to 25. Now these 2 I picked up for the illustrations. Obviously not in great shape, right? And on the inside, it's really falling apart. It was also £1. So let me just show you a couple of the illustrations. So here's one. Little girl's holding baby kittens, and then there's a poem right next to it all about it. So if you were going to frame that, maybe you would put the poem on the back, or you could frame the picture next to the poem. Then here is a little silhouette. It's Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Sailor, thus the old rhyme goes. That would look great framed. Okay, when I opened this up, all my little my little bookmarks fell. There's another image right there. So I think someone's really going to be interested in this for the images from my booth, probably $8 or $10 on Etsy, hopefully more because of the images, maybe $20. So here's the last book from that vendor. So I don't know if this was like a magazine called The Prize. This is the one that was £1.50. And no date on this one. Oh yeah, here we go, 1907. So I gotta try to preserve the bookmarks. So look at that. The images in this one are just really beautiful. The one problem is that at the top, now see, it's really falling apart. So we have every right to take the images out. Look at that. So you could frame that with the words, The Prize, or you could just frame the image below. Super sweet. It's called a duet. She's singing with a little bird in that one. And then here, 3 children with umbrellas. And this one is super sweet. Out by the pond with the swan. And there are also some etchings in here, or reproductions of etchings. Beautiful birds. I think there's probably 25 or 30 images in this book that are frameable. So in my shop, I would try it for 15. I don't think that it would do super well. I don't think any of these obviously are going to do as well as Etsy, because tend to get more on Etsy. The back has some ads on it. That's super cool. So on Etsy, I would do probably 35, somewhere around 35. So the other book that I picked up from a different antique mall is this little French dictionary. So French is always good. Little is always good. I have sold a number of newer mini dictionaries, so ones that have like vinyl covers for about $8 from my antique booth, and I would do about the same, $8 to $10 this one from my booth. On Etsy, higher. Maybe try that for 15. Super easy to ship, right? Okay, now I picked up a number of postcards because I am working on an article for my website about vintage and antique postcards. So I like to pick them up when I find them for reasonable prices. So this bunch cost £1. This is a really nice shot of Westminster Bridge, the Houses of Parliament and Big Ben. So I think I just said they were £1, right? Yeah. So someone who loves England like we do is gonna love that one. So I sell almost all my postcards from my antique booth. So I would probably put $3 on that. It's also frameable, right, for someone who loves England. And then this is a pre-Raphaelite painting. Feel like I want to frame this one as well. And then I've picked up a few photographic postcards. I should have told you the date on these. So this is, can't really see the date on that, but that's 1900s, early 1900s. And then this one is 1910, the Westminster. And this one just names the girls and gives their ages. Really crisp, clear photograph. So it's not going to sell for a huge amount, $2 or $3. And then there's a whole series of postcards of these sort of angelic children, and I wanted to pick up at least one or two as an example. This one dates to 1915. Some great handwriting on the back. I'll scan a few of these so that I can use them in projects, and also I often will give them I used to do it often. I haven't done it lately. Give the scans as free PDFs to people who subscribe to my email. And then here's another in that same category of angelic children. I need to research what these are going for, because these are in really good shape. Like, the corners are nice and sharp and there's no damage. This one dates to 1921, and I would hope something like $5 or $6 for each of these. So those were £1, and then I picked up 5 that were 5 for $1. We were in Evesham in the Cotswolds, and no, sorry. We were in Skipton, which is near, way up north of Birmingham and Sheffield. And we were in the area looking at all the different sites where All Creatures Great and Small is shot. So, Skipton Castle is on there. We drove by that and got a picture of that. Not that that wasn't in the show, but this was just like kind of a souvenir from our time in Skipton. And there's a close-up of the castle. And then I always like to pick up unusual postcards to include in the article. So this is a panorama of a hotel in Luzerne, Germany. I think Luzerne is in Germany. So yeah, for 20 cents. And then here's one with some, I think they're like fallow deer. A couple bucks for that one. I just thought that was funny with all the deer. And then a ship. Again, really good condition, these postcards. You don't get a lot of money for postcards, but man, they're so interesting. And sometimes you come across some that are really valuable, like hopefully the ones of the children. Also, a lot of holiday postcards go for good money. So went into a small antique shop in Evesham in the Cotswolds and picked up these for £5. So there was one in particular that I was really interested in, and that's this one, Sweet Little Girl, and it's French. So it's a French postcard. Looks like 1908. Some great French writing on the back there. And so hopefully 4 or 5, maybe more. And then this I thought was another photographic postcard with a pet. So usually photos of people with their pets are very valuable. This is 1905 and $3 or $4. Here's another very, very sweet postcard. Hopefully $5, $6. And then another one, this is called the Novell Sisters. Just really interesting, different, a little bit different than the sorts of postcards that I find in the States. Okay, so another thing, another subject for a future article is letter openers. So this one seems very English to me, maybe like arts and craftsy. It was £5, and I think on well, we'll do the two prices, okay? So the low price would be 15, the high price would be 30. And then here is a souvenir letter opener from Africa. Pretty sure this is has to be ebony, really heavier, and that beautiful black wood. It was also 5 pounds, so I'm gonna say 15, again 15 to 25 or 30 on that one. So one of my most exciting purchases, well, there's a couple. It's from this one antique mall, really large. I think it was 3, maybe even 4 floors in Evesham. I'll try to remember to put the name of it in the description below. So the first thing I saw was something I was hoping to find over in the UK, and that is a 2-pound DUNDEE marmalade. I have a whole article about DUNDEE marmalade jars and have sold a few. I've kept a few. In fact, hang on. I have this one right here on my counter. So the crazing and even minor chips, even major chips and hairlines like this one, they affect the value, but not as much as they would on another item. So I paid 18 pounds, which does translate into $25. I did do the math on that. I had to do that beforehand because 18 pounds felt like a lot, especially when I like to spend 1 or 2 or 3 pounds. So $25 on Etsy, I think it would sell for about $80, $80 to $90, something like that. I wouldn't even put it in my antique booth because I think I could get so much more on Etsy, and I just think it's gorgeous. Like that is the really the main issue on this piece is that crazing right there. From that same antique shop in Evesham, actually the same booth. Bought a lot from the same seller. I found these gorgeous little ironstone pots. Of course, I would have loved it if it was like a potted meat jar or a toothpaste jar. Obviously, these have no writing. They're in really pretty good shape. Some little chips there, chips there, chips there. 2 pounds. So I bought 2 that size. This one's in better shape. Not sure why the lid would be so much lighter, except for maybe they are mismatched. This one has beautiful crazing. A lot of people really love that brown crazing. So it has a tiny chip there, little paint there I'm gonna scrape off, and the lid is in like almost perfect shape. Also 2 pounds. And then the larger one was 3 pounds. Yes, I was hyperventilating. So again, some really nice crazing in very, very, very good shape. Teeny tiny little henpeck there. It's got another name. Little tiny chip. Then a couple here on the lid. So values, I'm gonna say, I did look on Etsy. So these were in like the $30 to $40 range, and then the larger one in the $40 to $50 range, even without the typography on the top. Really fun finds. And then, like I said, that same booth had a basket filled with items that were 50 pence each. 50 pence. So I got this business card holder. Nothing like too exciting, but still very nice for 50 pence. And I will put 8 to 10 on that one. And charming little ironstone pitcher. I do have an article all about mini pictures and multiple articles about Ironstone. It's not marked on the bottom. $10 to $12 for that one. And these items will likely be sold from my antique booth. Just a cute little silver plated, it's not marked on the bottom, but a little silver plated dish. $9 for that one. And then oh no, here we go. I'm calling this a mustard, and at on the trip in the UK, I picked up a very sweet little brass spoon that is gonna fit in there perfectly. And it's marked England on the bottom. We'll transfer where mustard with the spoon, I'm gonna say $15. And then the last 50p item is this souvenir. On the back it says Arden Forest, so I'm assuming that's a place in the UK. It's got a beveled glass mirror inside. This is a leather case, and it says The Good Companions. Not really sure, like you open it and you see yourself and you're your own best companion. Not sure about that. So this to me is more of an Etsy sort of item. $15 to $20 on that one. Then at an antique shop that was going out of business, I picked up this sweet little Ironstone mold. It's not old. It's a reproduction marked Taunton Country Crafts. So Taunton is a village or a town in England, and he gave it to me for £3. He's going out of business, and just a charming little piece. So I'm going to say 20 to 30 on that one. And what else? Okay, so along the ceramics line, this piece I picked up for myself. I was trying not to buy souvenirs everywhere that I went. And if I did, that I had a sort of a purpose for it. So I picked up this yellow clay pot. It's for cream, pure high cream, Manchester Creamery, Broughton. So actually we were near Broughton. We drove up to Broughton Castle, which is, the outside is used for the home of Mrs. Pomfrey in All Creatures Great and Small. And I'll be writing about our All Creatures adventures in an article on my website. But in any event, this was £12, and I am putting together like a little collection of yellowware. Actually, it's back here on the shelf. So I have an old checkerboard I'm gonna put up on the wall, and then I'd like to have yellowware in the front. So this is gonna be added to that. So it was £12. If I were to sell it, I would do it on eBay or Etsy, and I would price it at about $45 to $50 for that. People really like things that have writing on them. So speaking of which, I picked up, this is a pie vent, so it would go into a pie to vent off the steam so it didn't like, I don't know, I guess mess up your crust. I've never used one. So it's got nut brown written on it. So recently I sold a set of little aluminum bunny rabbit molds that also had nut brown written on them. So I'm assuming that's an English company. The molds, the rabbit molds, also had made in England written on them. So in an earlier video, I showed you this one. They were both £4. So this would be an earlier version of pie vent by the same company, nut brown. Thought that was interesting. These will go into my yellowware collection as well. And if I were selling them, this piece would probably go for more, much older, lots of crazing. Not really yellow wear in the same way that this piece is. I mean, this actually was made of yellow clay. So I can't even remember what price I thought I would get for this one. For, I'd have to do a little research. So maybe 10 to 20 pounds, or 20 pounds, $20, something like that. Okay, so couple of glass pieces. This one has a story. Beautiful perfume with a nice crystal stopper that's ground. Don't want to take the tape off. So it was in EVESHAM, and we walked by this very little vintage and antique shop and went in. This was outside with a few other items. So I'm like, for £1, I'm getting that. It's in perfect shape. And we got to talking with the owner, and he walked outside with us, and I was getting out a £1 coin to give him for this, and he said, take it. He said, I had such a nice time talking with you Americans, and it was very, very sweet. So on Etsy, well, from my, okay, low to high. So the low would be 15, the high, hopefully something in the $30 range. Okay, so, and then, oh my gosh, cutest Inkwell. I picked up a couple of Inkwells. I think I showed 2 others in previous videos. So this was £1, 2 pounds, sorry. Nice and old. I mean, it was blown into a mold. So it's hand blown into a mold. Lots of curviness in there and little seeds, and it would have been broken off at the top here. That's why it's rough. And yeah, I'm gonna say low of 8 to 10 to a high of 20 to 25. Okay, of course I picked up a few pieces of jewelry, which I'm not supposed to buy at all. So sometimes when you're in an antique shop and everything costs $100 or $200, when you come across something that's $5, it seems really cheap to you. So I picked up 4 items that were $5 each. I think they were really good buys, but I do need to do a little research. So here is a sweet little sterling and jade ring. Fits on my pinky, so I'm gonna say it's probably about a size 5, and $5 on whether from my booth or Etsy, $22 to $25 for that. This is so fun. This is a very Scottish piece. It's a brooch. It's I believe a grouse foot. It's got a little sterling ring on his finger, and then this decorative sterling end. It's got some etching on it. I don't know if you can see that. That makes it very pretty. So £5 and value at about 20 to 25. Picked up this bracelet, which I do believe is sterling. It has an interesting mark on it that looks very Middle Eastern to me, so I'm feeling like it might be Turkish silver. Has a pretty embossed design. Cost £5 and value at about 25 to 30. And then the last piece I picked up is this gorgeous pendant, which I believe this is sterling. No mark anywhere that I could find. Just my feeling, the weight of it is in this stone here. And even if it's not sterling, I think it is gorgeous. And I bought it for myself, but not sure now that I will definitely keep it, but we'll see. So value, if it's not sterling, I can put it on a chain. I have a chain, multiple lengths chain, so I get a longer chain for this one and price it at 25. If it's sterling, I'm going to say 40 to 50, maybe even a little bit more. Just really beautiful. Tell me if you think it's beautiful. Okay, that's the jewelry. Now, well, here, I'll show you this first. So round graders like this sell really well for me. And low price of 18, high price of 30, 25 to 30, higher value on that. These are cool. You can put them over tea lights and create kind of a lantern effect. All on its own. It's just really, that's a very pleasing farmhouse piece to me. Okay, so I have a number of brass items to show you, and then a very, very cool piece that I am waiting to show you last. So brass seems to me to be undervalued in England, and maybe we're over brass. We were into copper and then we were into brass, but even so, these pieces are so interesting. I think that they'll sell well. So I had never seen one of these, but now I know they're very common in England. So it's a Fireside Brush is what they're the tags all said on them. And this one has a ship decoration at the top there. And it was £3 at the same shop where I picked up the Marmalade jar. £3. And I think value I would put at 25 to 35 on that piece. And at a different shop, I picked up several brass pieces. So this is was called a fire tongs, which I just thought was cool. So I'm imagining that it was to pick up coals. Maybe, you know, when coal was used for a heat source, you can pick up a coal and you could put it in like a foot warmer or turn the coal over, you know, to adjust the fire. So they were £2, which I just think is so amazing. £2, and I'm going to value them at 20 to 30, 25 to 30. And the cutest little brass pitcher. Not sure if that lid, I don't think that lid comes off. Just a cute little miniature, right? It was £1. I'm going to put $9 on that. And then very cool. So I didn't pick up many tools. This might be the only tool. This level, it's wood. Need some of my wood salve on there to bring that wood back to life. And then brass on the front, and it's signed Hockey Abbey, made in England, and it's got a number over here of 1621, and just thought that was really cool. It was £4. I would value it at a low of 18, high of 25 to 30. You can see I've given a lot of thought to this before the video. I'm having to price these on the spot. Okay, 3 more pieces of brass. These are called toast forks. So I guess you'd either lay your bread on there. I don't think so. You'd slide that into your bread and then toast it over the fire. I liked this one because of the heart sort of shape there. It was £3, and I would price it at 18 to 30. And here is a brass spoon. It has a really nice sort of just a nice decoration there, a way to hang it. Same with this fork. So you could see a wall with some of these brass decorations. So this was also £3 and $25 to $35 on that. And then here is just the coolest. I've never seen this before. It's called a skimmer. And once I picked it up, Of course, I saw multiple pieces like it. So I paid £6 for it, and I'm going to value it at $35 to $50 for that piece. Really nice decoration on the wall, right? That piece. Okay, so I saved the best for last. So I spent £33. That's a lot of money on this autograph book. So first of all, it's an unusual size, right? It dates to the 1930s. The signatures are from the 1930s. There's the price right there, £33. And it's got the owner's name written in kind of very cool handwriting there. So it is filled with artwork. So the people who signed this autograph book, I'm guessing, took it home with them, put their mark on it. So this one says, "Laugh while you may." It shows 4 skaters there having a good time. That one's dated 1930. "With love, J. Dillswood." And then here's a piece. So the first one was a little hand-painted piece of art. This one is also a watercolor goldfinch, dating 1932. "Love from Maya Lucy Hudson." And then there are several photographs. So I'm guessing that's maybe like a summer camp photograph with all the autographs on the other side. And then here is a beautiful pencil drawing. That's Betty, can't read that, 1932. Here's a very pretty landscape, watercolor landscape, dated 1930, "With love from M. Glenn, April 1st. And that's signed, that's Freisch, Switzerland is what that painting is of. I'm not sure if I said that right. And then Mickey refusing some cheese, "With love, Holly." That's 1932. And then the last one I'll show you is this very sweet pencil drawing with Winnie the Pooh and Piglet and Tigger in the 100-Acre Wood. So you can see why I was willing to spend so much money on it. It is truly a treasure, very unique, very English, I think. I'm hoping on, I will not put this in my shop because it's already showing some signs of wear there. And I don't want it to, I don't want people's like dirty hands, I guess, getting on the pages, things falling out, that sort of thing. So it's going to go right to Etsy. And I'm going to start at about $125 and then be willing to take offers. Did you know that's a new option, relatively new option on Etsy? You can tick a box that says you're willing to take offers. I hope you enjoyed seeing all of my UK finds from antique malls. And as always, happy hunting.